Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're cracking open nature's source code. We're going to see how the absolute fundamentals of biology are becoming the ultimate blueprint for the future of engineering, everything from crazy new materials to revolutionary medicine. So, let's just start with a big question, right? What if I told you the most advanced factory on Earth is so small you can't even see it, but it's powerful enough to build, well, everything from a giant redwood tree to you and me? And here's the kicker. This isn't science fiction. It's the reality that's humming away inside every single living thing on this planet. To even begin to understand that factory, we've got to look at what it builds with. And this is cellulose. It's the most common organic polymer on the planet. It might just look like plant fiber, but this simple stuff, it's our very first clue to the incredible engineering power we're about to uncover. So let's zoom way in. We're going to start by exploring these tiny biological factories to see how they're inspiring some of the absolute biggest ideas in modern engineering. Okay, so back to basics for just a second. The cell. It's the fundamental unit. Every living organism you can think of, from a microbe you can't see to a massive blue whale, is built from these amazing microscopic structures. They really are the true foundation of all of life's engineering. And you know, nature doesn't just use a one-size-fits-all blueprint. Not at all. Plant cells, like the one on the left, they need that super rigid outer wall, that's the cellulose, for structural support. But animal cells over on the right, they need to be flexible so they can move and change shape. Each design is just perfectly engineered for its job. All right, let's step inside the factory. We're going to take a quick tour of the key departments to see how this microscopic manufacturing plant actually gets the job done. Okay, so think of it like this. The nucleus, that's the main control room where the DNA blueprint is stored. The mitochondria, those are the power plants, generating all the energy. Then you've got the ribosomes and the ER, that's your assembly line, building all the proteins. The Golgi apparatus handles packaging and shipping. And the cell membrane? Well, that's security and logistics, controlling every single thing that comes in and goes out. So if the cell is the factory, what are the raw materials? What does it actually use to build everything? Well, it turns out that all the incredible complexity of life is built from just 4 main groups of molecules. That's it, just 4. First on our list, carbohydrates. You already know these as sugars and starches. They are nature's absolute go-to for both quick energy and for building structures. And here's what makes them so cool. They're not just fuel. Yeah, they give you immediate energy, but they also form these really tough structures, like the cellulose that makes wood strong. So they're both the gasoline and the bricks of the biological world. How efficient is that? Okay, next up we've got proteins. Now, if carbs are the fuel and the bricks, then proteins are all the specialized machinery and the actual workforce inside the factory. These are complex molecules, built from smaller units called amino acids, and they do a mind-boggling number of jobs. To put it simply, proteins do pretty much everything. They give you structure, they run chemical reactions, they carry oxygen around your body, they power your muscles, they even fight off diseases. Life, as we know it, just wouldn't work without them. Then we have the information system itself, nucleic acids. You know them better as DNA and RNA. This is the master blueprint and the working messenger for the entire factory operation. So DNA holds the master copy of every single instruction needed to build and run an entire organism. And RNA, it helps carry out those plans. Every single thing, from your eye color to how your cells repair themselves, is all written in this amazing biological code. All right, our fourth and final building block, lipids. You can just think of this category as fats, oils, and waxes. Now, they're big defining features that they do not mix with water. And that simple property is something nature uses in some incredibly clever ways. And this gets to the most important job for lipids. Because they repel water, they are perfect for creating barriers. They form the membrane around every single cell, creating that essential boundary between the inside and the outside world. Basically, lipids build the walls of the factory itself. So okay, we've got the factory and we've got the raw materials. Now we get to the really exciting part. How are we as engineers hacking these biological blueprints to create some truly incredible new technologies? Remember that simple carbohydrate, cellulose? Well, get this. Engineers have figured out how to turn it into a high-tech water filter. They give the cellulose a positive charge, which acts like a magnet for all the naturally negatively charged bacteria floating around in the water. The genius part is that the filter's pores can be really big, so water flows through super fast without clogging, but that electrical charge just plucks the bad stuff right out. Or what about our massive plastic problem?
Well, by using starches, yep, another carbohydrate, we can now create bioplastics. Unlike traditional plastics made from oil, things like PLA, which comes from cornstarch, are made from plants and can actually biodegrade. Now, it's not perfect, earlier versions were brittle, but engineers are now blending them with other biomaterials to make them stronger and more heat-resistant, so they can be used for everything from food containers to car parts.
And all this brings us to a biological material that might be the most powerful one of all. One with just almost limitless potential for the future of engineering. And this raw material isn't just a substance, it's a programmable cell. Everybody, meet the stem cell, nature's own master cell. What makes it so special is that it's undifferentiated, which is just a fancy way of saying it hasn't decided what it wants to be when it grows up yet. A single stem cell holds the potential to become a muscle cell, a brain cell, a liver cell, pretty much any type of cell the body needs.
I mean, the potential here is absolutely breathtaking. From an engineering perspective, this is the ultimate programmable matter. If we can learn to control the signals that guide these cells, we could one day literally regenerate damaged tissues, grow custom organs for transplants, and maybe even repair the brain to treat diseases like Parkinson's. We are talking about repairing the human body from the inside out.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. We are just at the very, very beginning of learning how to speak biology's language and build with its materials. If the genetic code inside every cell is the most advanced software ever written, then the possibilities are truly endless. The question really isn't if we can engineer with biology anymore. The real question is, what problem are we going to solve with it next?